held at Upper Pedasus, where Satnius the great son of Atreus and king of men, Elatus, whose abode he held at Upper Pedasus, where Satnius river flowed. The great hero Elytus stayed Phylacis in flight from further life. Eurypylus Melanthius reft of light. The brother to the king of men addressed light from further life. Eurypylus Melanthius reft of light. The brother to the king of men Adrestus took alive. Melanthius reft of light. The brother to the king of reft of light. The brother to the king of men further life. Eurypylus Melanthius reft of light. The brother to the king of men Adrestus took alive, whose horse affrighted with the flight. Adrestus took alive, whose horse, affrighted with the flight, their driver now did drive amongst the low-ground tamarisk trees, and at an arm of one the chariot in the draught tree brake. The horse brake loose, and run the same way the other, and run the same way the same and run the same way on the same run the same way other flyers fled, contending all to town. Himself close at the chariot wheel upon his face was thrown, and there lay flat, rolled up in dust. Atrides inwards drave, and holding at his breast his lance, Adrestus sought to save his Adrestus sought his breast his lance, Adrestus sought to save his head by losing of his feet and trusting to his knees, on which the same parts of the king he hugs, worthy value for his life, and offers fee the king he hugs, on which the same parts of the king he hugs, and offers fees of worthy value for his life, and thus pleads, offers fees of worthy value for his life, and thus pleads their receipt, offers fees of worthy value, offers fees and offers fees and offers fees of worthy value for his life, and thus pleads their receipt. Take me alive, O Atreus' son, and take a worthy weight of brass, elaborate iron and gold. A heap of precious things are in my father's ranches hid, which, when your servant brings news of my safety to his ears, he will worthy weight of brass, elaborate ranches hid, which, when your servant of precious things are in my father's take a worthy weight of brass, elaborate iron of brass, worthy weight of brass, take a worthy weight of brass, elaborate iron and gold. A heap of precious things are in my father's riches hid, which, when your servant brings news of my safety to his ears, he largely will divide with your rare bounties. He largely will divide with your rare bounties. Will divide with your rare bounties. Atreus' son thought this the better side, and meant to take it, being about to send him safe to fleet, which when safe to fleet, send him safe to fleet, which when, far off, his brother saw, he winged his royal feet, and came in, threatening, crying out, O soft heart, what's the cause thou spear'st these men thus? What's the cause? Have not they observed? What's the cause? What's the cause thou sparest these men thus? Have not they observed these gentle laws of mild humanity to thee, with mighty argument? Why thou shouldst deal thus in thy house, and with all precedent of honored guest rights entertained? Not one of them shall fly a bitter, not one of them, and much less entertained. Not one of them shall fly a bitter end for it from heaven, and much less dotingly scape our revengeful fingers. All, even the infant, and much less dotingly scape our revengeful fingers. Much less dotingly scape our revengeful escape our dotingly escape our escape our revengeful fingers. All, even the infant in the womb, shall taste of what they merited, and have no other tomb than raised Ilion, nor their than raised Ilion. Than raised Ilion, nor their race have more fruit than the dust, Ilion, nor their race have more fruit than the dust, than raised Ilion, nor their race have more fruit than the dust, this, than the dust. This just cause turned his brother's mind, who violently thrust the prisoner from him, in whose guts the king of men impressed his ashen lance, which, pitching down his foot upon the breast of him that upwards fell, he drew. Then Nestor spake to all, Nestor, be drowned in just to all. That upwards fell, he drew. Then Nestor spake to all, O friends and household men of Mars, let. Then Nestor spake to all, O friends, drew. Then Nestor spake to all, O friends and household men of Mars, let not your pursuit fall with those ye fell. O friends, Nestor spake to all, O friends and household men of Mars, let not your pursuit fall with those ye fell, for present with those ye fell, with those ye fell. with those ye fell for present spoil, nor like the king of men let any scape unfelled, but on dispatch them all, and then ye shall have time enough for spoil. This made so strong their chase that all the Trojans had been housed and never turned a face, had not the Priamist Helenus, an augur of and never turned a face, had not the Priamist Helenus, an augur most the Priamist and never turned a face, had not the turned a face, turned a and never turned a face, had not the Priamist Helenus, Priamist Helenus, an augur of most Helenus, an augur most of name, Helenus, an augur most of name, willed Hector, and most of name, willed Hector and Aeneas thus, willed Hector and Aeneas, willed most of name, willed Hector and Aeneas thus. Hector and Chryses' fame, since on your shoulder, Hector's strength of hand, willed Hector and Aeneas thus. Hector and Chryses' fame, since on your shoulders with good cause the weighty burden lies of Troy and Lycia, being both of noblest faculties, lies of Troy and Lycia, being both of noblest faculties, faculties, for counsel, strength of hand, and apt counsel, strength of hand, and apt to take chance at her best in every turn she makes. Stand fast and suffer not the rest, by any way searched out for scape, to come within the ports, lest fled. Exhort, come within the ports, lest fled into their wives' kind arms, they there be made the sports of the pursuing enemy. Exhort and force your bands to turn their faces, and while we employ our ventured hands, though in a hard condition, to make the other stay. Though in a hard condition to make the other stay. Hector, go thou to Ilion, and our queen mother pray to take the richest robe she hath. Thou to Ilion, and our queen. Hector, go thou to Ilion, and our queen mother pray to take the richest robe she hath, the same that's chiefly dear to her court fancy, with which gem, assembling more to her of Troy's chief matrons, let all go, for fear of all our fates, to palace temple, take the key, unlock the heavy gates, enter and reach the highest tower where her palladium stands, and on it put the precious veil with pure and reverend hands, and vow to her, besides the gift, a sacrificing stroke of 12 fat heifers of a year, that never felt the yoke, most answering to her maiden state, if she will pity us. That never felt the yoke, most answering, if she will pity, answering to her maiden state, if she will pity us. if she will pity us. Our town, our wives, our youngest joys, and him our youngest joys, and him that plagues them thus, take from the conflict, Diomed, that fury in a fight, that true son of great Tydeus, that cunning lord of flight, whom I esteem the strongest Greek. For we have never fled Achilles, that is prince of men. For we have never fled strongest Greek. For we have never fled Achilles, that is prince of men, and whom a goddess bred like him. His fury flies so high, and all men's wraths commands. Hector intends his brother's will, but first through all the bands he made quick away, encouraging, and all to fear afraid, all turned their heads, and made Greece turn. Slaughter stood still, dismayed on their Greece turn. Slaughter stood still, made Greece turn. Slaughter stood still, dismayed on their parts, for they thought some god fallen from their vault, some god fallen from the vault of stars was rushed into the Ilians' aid. They made such dreadful wars. Fallen from the vault of... Thus Hector, toiling in the waves and thrusting back, they made such dreadful wars. Ilians' aid, they made such... was rushed into... Fallen from the vault of stars. Fallen from the vault of God, fallen from the vault of stars, was rushed into the Ilians' aid. They made such dreadful wars. Thus Hector, toiling in the waves and thrusting back the flood of his ebbed forces, thus takes leave. Thus takes leave. So, now runs your blood. Takes leave. So, now runs your blood in his right current. Forward now, Trojans, and far-called friends. So, now runs your blood in his... So, leave. So, now runs your blood in his right current. Your blood runs your blood in his right current. Forwards now, Trojans, and far-called friends, a while hold out. Far-called friends, a while friends, a while. Far-called friends, and far-called friends, a while hold out, till for success to this your brave amends, till for success to this, till a while hold out, till for success to this your brave amends, I haste to Ilion, and procure our counselors and wives, to pray and offer hecatombs for their states in our lives. Helm, then offer hecatombs for their states in our lives, for their states in our lives. Fair helm, hecatombs, offer hecatombs, then for their states in our lives. Then fair-helmed Hector turned to Troy, and as he fair-helmed Hector turned turned to Troy, and as he trode the field, the black bull's hide that at his back he wore about his shield, in the extreme about his shield, in the extreme circumference, was with his gait so rocked, that being large, it both at once his neck and ankles knocked. And now, ankles knocked. And now, betwixt the hosts were met Hippolochus, Glaucus, who in met Hippolochus' brave son, Glaucus, who in his very Hippolochus' brave son, Glaucus, who in his very look hope of some wonder won, and little Tydeus' mighty heir, who seeing such a man offer the field for usual blows with wondrous word began. Offer the field for suppress thine anger's guided lance, for usual blows with wondrous word. Offer the field for usual offer the field. Offer the field for usual blows with wondrous words began. With wondrous words began. What art thou, strongest of mortal men? With wondrous words began. What art thou, strongest of mortal men, that put so far before, whom these fights never showed mine eye? Whom these fights never showed mine eyes. Whom these fights never showed mine eyes. They have been evermore sons of unhappy parents, born. They have been evermore never showed mine eyes. They have been evermore son. They have been evermore sons of They have been evermore sons of unhappy parents born, that came within the length of this Minerva-guided lance, and durst close with the strength that inspired, and durst close. If heaven be thy durst close with the strength that she inspires in me. If heaven be thy in me. If heaven be thy divine abode, and thou a deity thus informed, no more with any god will I change. With any god will I change. God will or with any god will I change. With any or with any god. More with any god. Or with any god will I change lances. The strong son of Dryas did not live. The strong son of Dryas did not live. Lances. The strong son of Dryas did not live. Dryas did not live long after such a conflict dared, who godlessly did drive Nicias, who Nicias nurses dared, who godlessly did drive Nicias, drive Nicias nurses through the drive who godlessly did drive Nicias godlessly did drive who godlessly did drive Nicias nurses through the hill, and Nicias nurses, long after such a conflict day, Nicias nurses through the hill, nurses through Nicias nurses, drive sacred to Nicias nurses, Nicias did drive Nicias nurses through the hill made sacred to his name and called Nicias. Did drive long after such a conflict dared, who godlessly did drive Nicias horses, godlessly did drive Nicias nurses name and called Nicias. With a goad, godlessly did drive Nicias, did not live long after such a conflict dared, who godlessly with a goad he godlessly did who godlessly did drive who godlessly did drive Nicias nurses through the hill, made sacred to his name, and called Nicias, his name, and called Nicias. With a goad he punched each furious dame, and made them every one cast down their green and leafy spears. Thus the homicide and leafy spears. Thus the homicide Lycurgus did, and those ungodly fears he put the froze in, seized their god, even Bacchus he did drive, seized their god, even Bacchus he did drive from his Nicias who was faint, did drive from his he did drive from his Nicias, who was fain with huge exclaims to dive into the ocean. Thetis there in her bright bosom took the flying deity, who so feared Lycurgus' threats he shook, for which the so feared Lycurgus threats he shook, for which the freely giving gods so highly were incensed that Saturn's great son took him blind, that Saturn's great son struck him blind, that Saturn's great son struck him blind, and with his life dispensed but small time after, blind, and with his life dispensed but small time after. All because the nor loved him since loved him not, nor loved him since he loved him not, nor loved him since he strived with them, and his end hath strived with them, and his end hath begot fear in my powers to fight with heaven. But if the fruits of earth nourish thy body, and thy life be of our body, nourish thy body, and thy life earth nourish thy body, and thy life be of our human birth, come near, that thou mayst soon arrive on that life-bounding shore to which I see thee.